Well, hello there guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to teach you how to make an aluminum landing gear. Alright, so we're going to start with a 16th inch by 3/4 inch piece of aluminum that you can get from any hardware store in 3-foot pieces and 10-foot pieces. Now for this landing gear, I'm building it for a park flyer. You know, I went on eBay, I went on Amazon. Every single landing gear is at least $10 plus shipping. That piece of aluminum was only $4. So this is the $4 landing gear. Now since we're building this one for a park flyer, this distance here is 3.5 inches. The distance from the ground to the bottom of the airplane is roughly 3 3/4 inches. Now for those of you that plan on making more than one landing gear like me, after you get this figured out, you make yourself a template. That way anytime you want to make that exact landing gear, you can just use this. So the first thing we're going to do is figure out the distance that we want to the center of our axles from the ground. So some people like 1 inch, I like 3/4 inch. So I'm going to put my first line at 3/4 of an inch. Then I want 3.5 inches from the bottom of the fuselage to the center, or to the, well, 3.25 inches to the center, 3.5 inches from the bottom of the airplane to the top of our landing gear bend where our axle goes. So I'm going to put another mark there. Now our airplane fuselage is 2.5 inches wide. So our third mark, try to get it perfect, third mark goes here. And then again, coming down the other side, the other wheel, we're going to go 3.5 inches, make a mark. And then depending on if you want 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch, I like 3/4. I'm going to make my final mark. Now I recommend using a skinnier pen than a fat Sharpie for this. It would be a little bit more perfect. Now we're going to get our straight edge and we're going to make these lines go all the way across. So your final product that's ready, marked and ready to cut and bend, looks like this. Now let's go cut it and bend it. Now for my cut, I'm going to use a Dremel tool because I don't have a fancy bandsaw with a steel blade on it. Safety first. Now the important part, we've got our piece cut, our marks on it, we're ready to bend it. I like to use a vise. You can use pliers. If you don't have a vise, it works just as good for the smaller scale. If you're making larger scale, of course you're going to want to get a vise. So this process goes for all scales. First thing we're going to do is place it in the vise with this part of the line right above it. Now the reason why I want to make sure we remember which side we bent from is because when it comes to the other side, you have to do it exactly the same, otherwise it'll come out off bent and won't be bent right. So we're going to bend that to a 45. Next mark, we're going to do the same thing. This mark, same thing. And the last mark. And there you have it. Very nice, properly bent landing gear. So we brought it back over here to the workbench, and you want to measure your stance here from bin to bin. It's 3.5. Three and a half. Now there's one easy way to get your center line right for your axle, and that's to draw an X from corner to corner. Usually I would do that before I bin it, but we didn't do it this time. So take your smallest drill bit that you have and drill yourself a pilot hole right there in the center. This part's a lot easier if you do it before you bend it, and if you use a thinner tip pin. That way you got your center mark. And then we have our little pilot hole, dead center. That's where our axles are going to go, depending on the size of your axle. It depends on how deep you're going to drill out that hole. And thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, and keep your eye out for some more interesting RC tricks.